Hello and welcome to lesson number 15. This is about the central limit theorem. And basically what it says is you have the mean. So we've got a mean of 100. We've got a standard deviation. We've got a standard deviation of 15. Then when the central limit theorem applies, that's when you've got a group of size n. So here we've got a group of size 10. That means that the standard deviation needs to be divided by the square root of 10. So this is the only new thing in this section. Otherwise, we're doing just like we did in lesson number 14. Use the calculator to find the probabilities. Okay, so the mean is 100. That's right here. Oh, I just wrote that. And the standard deviation, okay, excellent. Glad I got that done. Next, in the middle of the picture, put the mean. So the 100 goes right here. And then it's saying that the sample of those 10 people is going to be over 110. So 110 is about right here. It's a sample mean, so x bar equals 110. And then the over is saying shade to the right. So over that number would be all of these over here. And then we're finding out what that shaded area is. So then go to second distribution and use the normal distribution. So the shading is starting at 110, then pick a number way over here that is going to be some big number. So I'm just going to say 10,000. So go way to the right and get an accurate answer. So start the shading at 110 and then go to the right until you get to 10,000. And then the mean is 100 and the standard deviation. So this is the one new thing. When you get to standard deviation, you do need to put 15 divided by the square root. And if you haven't done square root for a while, it is right here, but you do have to put second square root of 10. And then skip down to paste it onto the screen, and the answer is a 0.018. So again, I'm going to write down, I use the normal CDF going from 110 to 10,000. And then the mean is 100 and the standard deviation is 15 divided by the square root of 10. And then the answer is 0.018. If you move the decimal 2 places to the right, that's 1.8%. So to finish my picture over here, that little shaded part is only 1.8% of the graph. If you have an older calculator, so go to second distribution, use the normal CDF, and then you need to type this information in yourself. So go from 110 and then comma to 10,000. The mean is 100 and the standard deviation is 15 divided by the square root of 10. And then technically on this calculator, I need 2 parentheses to close it out. But it does give me the same answer, 0.018. Believe it or not, only 2 more to go. So this time it's a sample size of 20. So that means that when I get to the standard deviation part, it's going to be divided by the square root of 20. And once again, the mean is equal to 100 in this example. And then the shading is going from 95 to 105. So then shade in between those two. There we go. Beautiful shading. So I'm going to write it down first this time and then use the calculator. So use normal CDF The shading starts at 95 and then it goes until 105. Oops, sorry, that's supposed to say 105. That says 105. I don't have an eraser. And then the mean is 100 and the standard deviation is 15, but then don't forget to divide it by the square root of n or the square root of 20. So go back to second distribution, use the second one, have the shading go from 95 to 105. The mean is already there, and in fact, all I need to do is change this inside the square root to a 20. And then it turns out that the answer is 0.864. So in other words, 86.4% of the graph is shaded right here in the middle, 86.4%. Okay, just one more to go. By the way, with the central limit theorem, we don't have those ones where you do the inverse. So this is basically going to be the same idea. So first, the sample size is 10, so we're using n equals 10. So when I get to the last part, I'll have to put the square root of 10 right there. And then at most actually means less than or equal to. So the word at most is saying less than or equal to, so we're going to be shading to the left. Well, one more time, the mean equals 100 goes in the middle. The number 89 would be somewhere over here on the left. And then at most means shade to the left. So then how much is this little shaded area right here? So again, I'm going to write it out first and then use the calculator. So use normal, CDF. So the shading is going to go up to 89 and actually starts way over here. So I don't know what number goes over there. So I'm going to put something sort of big and way to the left, like negative 10,000. So start the shading at negative 10,000 and then shade all the way up to 89. And the mean is 100 and the standard deviation is 15, but then don't forget to divide by the square root of 10. All right, let's see how much that equals. And again, when you're using negative, make sure you use this for the negative. So do the second distribution, the normal, make sure you use the negative symbol. So look, if you use this, which is subtract, the calculator goes, the second one means subtract, the first one means negative. So that's a negative. All right, so from negative 10,000 to 89, and then this is done, this is almost done, I just need to change this to a 10. And then turns out that that's just going to be 0.01, or in other words, 1%. So this little tiny area is only 1% of the graph. All right, that's it for number 15. I'll see you soon in lesson 16.